What the fuck?
The movie kicks off in 1991 in the small town of Kettle Springs, Missouri. A bunch of teenagers are partying near a cornfield by the Baypen syrup factory. Two of them, Jessica and Tyler, wander off into the corn for a quickie. Jessica takes off her shirt and disappears between the stalks. Tyler follows, but suddenly she's gone. Moments later, she stumbles back out with a massive wound on the back of her head and drops dead. Before Tyler can even process it, he's staring at a huge, menacing clown. He drives a pitchfork clean through him and hoists him into the air like a trophy. Cut to present day, our main girl, Quinn, moves to Kettle Springs with her dad, Dr. Glenn. Their new house is a total dump. There's no cell service, but what they do have is a dead animal rotting in the fireplace. From her bedroom window, Quinn spots the abandoned Baypen syrup factory looming over the town. The next morning, a boy shows up at their door and offers to walk her to school. His name's Rust. Along the way, they talk about the town, and he warns her to watch who she hangs out with. Kettle Springs has its share of real weirdos. Quinn's first day isn't exactly smooth. She's late to class, and the teacher, Mr. Vern, is already in a bad mood. The students pull a prank on him, and he snaps, handing out a test as punishment. One girl speaks up, saying it's not fair to the new girl. Quinn explains they put the wrong room number on her schedule and earns herself detention. Another boy tries to back her up, but it's detention for him too. Then the test turns out to be another prank. Every page plastered with screenshots from what's supposed to be Mr. Vern's dating profile. In detention, the other teens are riding high. Their prank video is already blowing up online. Quinn meets the group: Janet, Ronnie, Tucker, Matt, and Cole. She tells them she's from Philly, and that Kettle Springs feels like it's been stuck in the 90s. They agree, and Cole explains the town's big tradition, the Founders Day Festival. His great-grandfather created Baypen corn syrup, and his family invented the holiday to celebrate corn. The whole thing centers around Frendo, the creepy clown plastered on every Baypen label. He's basically the town mascot. Janet says that's why they turned him into a serial killer for their YouTube channel, and they show Quinn their homemade horror videos, with Tucker and Matt taking turns in the Frendo suit. Later, Quinn goes to the only diner in town with her father, where they meet Sheriff Dunn. He warns her to stay away from the group of teenagers she just befriended, blaming them for the fire that burned down the syrup factory. When the teens pass the diner, Quinn slips away to join them. They want to buy booze and get drunk, but without fake IDs, they will have to get creative. In the liquor store, they create chaos and walk out with a six-pack and a bottle of liquor. Then they drink in some abandoned spot. When Matt wanders off to take a leak, Quinn asks about the burned-down factory. Cole admits they were there that night filming one of their videos, but swears they didn't start the fire. They think someone's trying to set them up. Then Matt screams. Quinn turns to see him clutching his stomach, guts spilling out as he collapses. Then a clown steps out of the shadows. She bolts, but Cole grabs her hand, grinning, and says it's fine. Just Tucker and Matt staging another Frendo scene. After that, Quinn and Cole chat around the fire, swapping tragedies. She shares that her mom died over the summer, and he reveals his little sister died as well, on his watch. Cole drives her home, and before getting out, Quinn leans in and kisses him. Her dad is having none of it and bangs on the window, furious. He makes it clear she's not to see Cole again. Later that night, she watches the video from earlier. Everything looks normal until she spots a second Frendo mask lurking in the background. At Tucker's place, he is alone playing drums. He gets a text from Janet asking him who's the second Frendo in the movie. Attached is a zoomed-in still. Before he can answer, his doorbell app pings. The live feed shows someone standing there wearing a Frendo mask. Tucker smirks, thinking it's Cole pranking him. He takes his BB gun and starts wandering around the house. Inside his closet, he finds an old Baypen Jack-in-the-Box. He winds it. Frendo then appears behind Tucker and slashes his throat before wrapping him in plastic. The next day, Cole talks with his father. The mayor tells him he's not going to the parade after he got detention. Cole tries to argue that Mr. Vern is just an asshole, but his dad tells him that Mr. Vern's brother unalived himself after the factory burned down last month. The whole town is out for the Founders Day Parade. led by Mayor Hill himself. The teens gather to watch, but Tucker is missing. Quinn asks Janet if they figured out who the other friendo was. Janet suggests it's probably Rust, who's a weirdo. Janet and Ronnie are already scheming to film another video. Janet disappears into the parade crowd, and Quinn climbs onto Cole's shoulders for a wide shot. The parade takes a chaotic turn when a unicyclist wearing a friendo mask appears, juggling what look like flaming bomb balls. The crowd laughs, enjoying the show, until a policeman startles him. One of the balls drops straight onto the float, igniting it in flames. Panic erupts as the big clown statue topples sideways, crushing anyone unlucky enough to be in its path. Sheriff Dunn is quick to point fingers, blaming the teens for the disaster. Quinn, Janet, Cole, and Ronnie are arrested on the spot. They're eventually bailed out, but Quinn's dad grounds her immediately. Meanwhile, Matt is alone in his garage, working out and lifting weights, when he notices a jack-in-the-box next to him. As he goes back to bench pressing, a friendo clown suddenly appears on top and puts a handsaw with a barbell. Despite Matt's efforts, Frendo pushes the saw down to chop Matt's head off. That night, Quinn sneaks out with Cole to a party by the cornfield. In the car, Cole shows her a jack-in-the-box, and Quinn winds it up. But then they almost run over Rust, who is carrying a dead deer. He warns her to be careful. Quinn and Cole arrive at the party. Tucker and Matt are missing, but the group assumes they're just up to one of their usual stunts. Rust shows up as Quinn and Cole sneak off to a nearby shed to hook up, but Cole shuts it down completely. Flustered, Quinn returns to Janet and Ronnie, who joke that Cole rejects every girl. The tension between Quinn and Janet is cut short when another girl, Ginger, stumbles out of the cornfield with an arrow in her back. She collapses dead, and moments later, Matt's head, wearing a clown mask, is tossed at them. At first, the girls assume it's just another prank for Matt and Tucker. But when Quinn checks Ginger's pulse and finds none, they realize they've actually been tossing Matt's severed head around. Then a friendo clown steps out of the cornfield, laughing like the devil himself. He fires arrows from a crossbow, one striking an unlucky teen straight in the face. Chaos erupts until Rust shows up, blasting him with a shotgun. Calling 911 is useless. There's no service, and the car's tires are slashed, batteries pulled out. Rust orders the group to take off the friendo mask, but before they can see who's underneath, dozens of people dressed as friendo emerge from the cornfield, armed with chainsaws and other random tools. One tries to attack, but Rust blows his hand off. Cole grabs Quinn, and the group runs into the shed, barricading themselves. Meanwhile, Glenn discovers Quinn has snuck out and heads out to find her. Trapped in the shed, the teens are in full-blown panic as the pack of friendos try to break in. Janet suggests heading to the Tillersons' house to use their landline, but Ronnie points out it is a mile away through the dark cornfield. Rust and Cole start bickering, and the girls realize that the two had been together. But Cole was too much of a chicken to get out of the closet. Then they find a hatch that opens into a sewage pit. It's pretty disgusting, but it might be their only way to escape. Meanwhile, Glenn is driving when he notices the clinic has been broken into. Inside, he's caught by a friendo. The clown forces him to tend to another friendo, the one who lost his hand. Glenn is cornered. Help the wounded clown or his daughter dies. In the shed, Cole and the girls slip into the shithole, while Rust rigs a trap with propane tanks to keep the friendos at bay. Moments later, the four emerge outside, just as the shed explodes. Rust is nowhere to be seen, presumed dead. Cole wants to run back for him, but the girls remind him they've only got one bullet left and need to reach the Tillersons' house for help. They dash through the cornfield. Meanwhile, at the clinic, Glenn operates under pressure. He notices a walkie-talkie on the injured friendo and creates a distraction for the other one. Claiming the wounded one needs more fluids, he lures him toward the cabinets. And while the friendo rummages for supplies, Glenn snatches the walkie-talkie. The teens flag down a cop car on the road to the Tillersons' house, hoping for backup. Bad luck, though, because Sheriff Dunn is behind the wheel, and he not only doesn't help them, but he arrests Cole and leaves the rest to fend for themselves. As the girls sprint through the cornfield, one of the friendos impales Ronnie with a chainsaw. Quinn and Janet barely make it to the Tillersons' house. Inside, they stumble across a dead-ass Frendo on the couch. The phone starts ringing, and they rush upstairs to answer it, only to find the line dead. They try to call 911, but it's a retro landline, and they can't figure out how to punch out the numbers. There on the wall, they see photos of themselves pinned up with a bay pen jack-in-the-box nearby. Quinn knows they have walked straight into a trap. Panicked, they rush downstairs where the Frendo corpse has vanished. Then a Frendo suddenly appears, skewering Janet with a pitchfork before electrocuting her on the ceiling light. Quinn reacts fast, yanking the pitchfork free and using it to kill the attacker. As Janet and the Frendo die together, both whisper that they hate her. Meanwhile, at the clinic, Glenn takes out the heart monitoring device from the injured Frendo without being seen. When it appears to flatline, he tricks the other Frendo into using the defibrillators, forcing him to drop his knife. Seizing the moment, Glenn stabs him in the neck, leaving him to bleed out. From the walkie-talkie, he overhears the remaining Frendos plotting to capture the girls and drag them back to the Baypen factory. Determined, Glenn sets off to rescue his daughter. Quinn bolts into a truck, but she can't drive it because it's a stick shift, and just like the landline, she has no idea what to do with it. Then a few of the Frendos emerge and drag her away. She wakes up in the gutted remains of the syrup factory, face to face with the Frendos led by Mayor Hill and Sheriff Dunn, joined by familiar townsfolk like Mr. Vern, Trudy the waitress, and shop owner Otis. Hill calmly explains the town's sick tradition, dating back to the early 20th century. Any outsiders they think will tarnish Kettle Springs' reputation. Hobos, hippies, Gen X burnouts, and now Gen Z nuisance are hunted and slaughtered. Then Hill pulls back a curtain, and we see Cole is suspended from the ceiling by his neck, ready to be hung. Quinn points out that's his son, but Hill snarls that Cole is no son of his. He killed his sister and burned the factory down. There's no point in arguing with him. He might have drunk too much corn syrup. Cole removes the gag from his mouth, declaring that their generation is the one that ruined everything, and that the world is going to change whether they like it or not. Just as Sheriff Dunn raises his gun at Quinn, Glenn crashes in with his car, turning the factory into pure chaos. The car screeches to a stop just beneath the dangling Cole. In the melee, Otis has his head crushed by a cinder block, and Trudy is impaled on a pipe. The sheriff charges after Quinn, while Hill moves to finish off his own son. Quinn hides into a room stacked with Frendo costumes. The sheriff follows, but Quinn turns the tables. Disguised in one of the costumes, she sneaks up and shoves a cattle prod down his throat, electrocuting him from the inside. Meanwhile, Cole finally confronts his father and learns that he burned the factory down simply because he was losing money. Without a second thought, Hill climbs into a car and drives off, leaving Cole dangling by his neck. Glenn holds Cole steady until Rust appears alive and shoots the rope, freeing him. Cole and Rust finally kiss. Quinn joins them, and they escape the factory and find a car to get away, only to end up in another stick shift car and the last Frendo standing, Mr. Vern. Glenn guides her through it, clutch down, first gear, biting point, and then he tells her to floors the gas and run over Mr. Vern. Sometime later, Quinn is preparing to leave for college. Glenn is now running for mayor of Kettle Springs. Rust and Cole, finally out and together, arrive to say goodbye. Quinn drives off only to spot another jack-in-the-box in the car. With a smirk, she tosses it out the window and keeps going. The end. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time,